Hey guys, Jedi 270 here on a bright sunshiny day. I figured I would come outside and sit up here on the truck bed on the tailgate to do this review. It's basically not really a review, it's an overview of a rescue rifle. And what I mean by that is I traded a trademarked Glock pistol for this rifle. It's a closed bolt and it's roached out pretty bad. And I know it looks that way now, but that was done intentionally. What I did, what I got was I got this rifle, and it had a carbine length outer barrel, and I got two bolt carrier groups, two sets of closed bolt lowers, and I went ahead and ordered a Colt trademark lower receiver, AFC receiver from Airsoft Global, and anything that I could take off of it externally I put onto that lower. Built out a SOP mod carbine with that one. So then I thought, what am I going to do with this upper? Well, typically what happens when you try to convert a closed bolt over to an open bolt, your upper receiver on a closed bolt has a bigger diameter than the open bolt does, excuse me. So he tried to put on like a Daniel defense rail or something, and he didn't put that spacer in, so you had that little bit of minute play, and it ended up cracking the threads on the upper. Now, it wasn't cracked too bad. This is the same upper on this one, because after I built out that other rifle, this gave me the ability to build this one too. So about that much of your threads is still on this bottom side of the upper, and you have the full threads up here, so it only cracked like at a 45-degree angle, and there's still plenty enough room to tighten that down for it to bite. And due to the closed bolt nature of that hop-up unit, it sits in there pretty tight, so I don't think it's going to fail on me. If it does, then I'll have to figure out a way to source another closed bolt upper for it. So once I put it together, I was like, I don't really like that, so I blasted it down and I re-blacked it, and it looked like a brand new gun. And I thought, you know what, this is my chance to do a battle-worn look, and I've never done it. And a friend of mine, Mr. Laxton, also known as Pussy Lover, a great guy, he turned me on to this, and I fought him on it tooth and nail. I really did. He actually sent me a Colt mark lower that had been dusted like this, and I re-blacked it, and I ended up sending it back to him, which I'm sure he's probably dusted again. But I thought, here's my chance to do this. So I needed to start sourcing parts, and I've done this as just kind of like a project. I didn't want to build it overnight. I wanted to take my time with it. So I ordered some real steel pivot and takedown pins. As you can tell, they protrude a little bit more, see if I can get this thing to focus, than your stock ones, okay? I didn't have to do any modifications to the lower to get them to slide in. They went in very nicely and very tight. So I've got no upper and lower receiver wobble whatsoever. I put in a real steel mag catch. On the other side, I put on a real steel dust cover. It's got a real steel mil-spec buffer tube and castle nut. It's got a real steel buffer with a WE and spring. It has a real steel buffer lock detent and plunger. You have to drill those threads out, and it's got to be a little bit bigger of a diameter to sit in, and your buffer tube, like a real AR, comes up and holds that in. I didn't have another CAC rear sight, so I took a G&G Armament metal carry handle. I didn't want to go chopping on a WE one. I tend to love my WE stuff, so I don't do a lot of modifications to them if I don't have to. So I cut that one off, and I made this rear sight. This is just your typical ACM. It's a trademark. It's on the other side, EOTech XPS. The PEC 2 was done by Mr. Laxton, and when I put it on here, I was like, I got to dust this gun. So what I really like about WE's rails, and it's like it was pointed out to me by him, they're closer to an actual CAC rail than you're going to find anywhere else, in my opinion. They look really nice. They work well. I added an extra piece of a spring inside the delta ring to give it a little bit more heft to hold it. And then I took a D-Boys M203 that was the long M203, and as you can tell, I chopped that off. And how I did that was I measured everything out, made sure I was level, put it up on a chop saw, let it have it, and painted that edge up. Then I put on a CAC flash hider, and I had to put on a 2-inch extension on the outer barrel in order to use this barrel mount. I don't like rail mounted 203s. I think they look ridiculous. So I had to have it barrel mounted. So that's what I had to do in order to achieve that. And as you can tell, it's right over the back side of the flash hider. And the flash hider does protrude out maybe about a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch further than the end of the 203 barrel. I think it turned out really nice. What I did was I put everything together, and basically I shot it with a Krylon spray paint. It's their camouflage tan. And I put my hands up on it, held it, and tried to memorize where it would normally be held and where dust would be and where dust wouldn't be. And then I just took a light steel wool, rubbed that off. And then to preserve this look, I hit it with a matte clear coat so it won't rub off any more than what it is. So basically, I love how it turned out. I mean, it turned out great, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think about it. Now, I've got a closed bolt top affixed to a WE version 2 internal and a WE Stanag mag that's been redone. And I've got the selector switch on order. I haven't installed the hammer lock yet, which I will. I had to put in a new roller bearing and pin in the hammer, rebuilt the internals out to where they're supposed to be, and it's ready to go. Now, I took out the bolt carrier group last night. It's not in there now because I torched it. Basically, what I did was I heated that steel up to its cherry red, and I dunked it in a bucket of dirty motor oil, and it gives it that fired look. And up around the bolt face, it turned out really cool because it looks like it's got carbon buildup. It just looks awesome, looks fired, it looks incredible. I'm really happy with it. So once I get this selector switch in, we'll be rocking and rolling. I want to order another flip-up CAC sight. I may put order another from Green Base Trading. They carry these really nice aim point replicas, and I think I'm going to put a Comp M4 on there. This will more than likely come off. I'll put on like a PEC 15 or a PEC 16. These PEC 2s, although it's very nicely done, and his work is just exquisite when he paints things and does things, it still gets up a little bit high and in your vision, so that will change out eventually. So let's flip it over, get a look at the other side, see what else we've done to this bad boy. Alright, also it needs to have a forward assist button, and it was missing on this rifle when I got it, and there's no spring in there, so I need to change that out. Like I said, it's got the real steel mag catch, it's got the real steel dust cover. You can barely make it out because of the dust, but it's EOTech XPS ACM. And this here is a real steel Surefire M600A. It's one of the very first SOF lights. This was a USMC issued. I traded with a former Marine. He was issued this light in Iraq, and it's seen some action, so it needs to be on this type of rifle. So basically, guys, there you go. I traded one pistol, and I got the ability to build 2 guns, and probably for less money than it would have cost me to build one. You know, the Cope Mark receiver on the other one in the house was like $110 shipped, and I absolutely just can't stress it enough, guys. I mean, if you want something that's trademarked and nice, Airsoft Global is one of the nicest websites that I've used. Those guys in Green Base are incredible. Green Base really, they specialize in SOF lights, optics, and that sort of thing. You can get stuff fairly cheap. But the best part is when you order from them, every step is emailed to you. There's no second guessing. But make sure that you put in a description to cover the trademarks and cover all U.S. laws, because that way you have a better chance of getting it in the country. Took me about a week and a half to get anything I've ordered from them. And I think at one point I ordered some CAC rail covers, and they didn't have any in stock. So they sent me some rubber ones instead. I think they were UTG. And just to be nice, they turned around and sent me an offset mount for free. I mean, that's just the kind of business they do. I mean, it's awesome. I trust them implicitly. So if you guys really want a good company to order from in Asia, they're awesome. Airsoft Global's great. You know, what I liked about this 203, I mean, no, it's not trademarked. I would rather it be, but it was just too long, so I just chopped it off. You know, I didn't have to go out and buy another 203. I just used what I had. Sit down and pull out your parts bins and use your imagination and build something. You know, I like to buy these things from guys. I like to trade them out of them when they're tired of them and they've done a lot of Dremel work to them and the poor rifles look so sick, and it's time to get them in and bring them back to life. And this one is soon to be like new again. So guys, I appreciate you watching this video and listen to me yak for 10 minutes. Feel free to comment on it, whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. I hope you like it. It was the first time I've ever done that dusted, battle-worn look, and I really like it a lot. Be kind to one another. Airsoft is a sport of honor, you know. Just be kind to the new guys on the field, and be kind to your family and your friends and your relatives, and love everybody, and most important, love yourself. And God bless you, and thank you for watching.